Are you looking for a battery-powered security camera with 1080 video, local storage, and person detection, all for free, that can fit in the palm of your hand? Well, then you're in the right place. Hello, I'm Wanderer001, and this is my review of the EZVIZ BC2 security camera. I will start the review off by stipulating that EZVIZ did reach out to me and provide me with the BC2 here for the purposes of doing a review. And that's what you're going to get. But let's take a look at the camera. We have, again, a ridiculously small form factor, 2 inches by 1.5 by 1.5. You can see that there is a little gloss trim on this to kind of give it a little bit of an accent, but I appreciate that the front end here, which will be facing where you're trying to record, is matted plastic. So that's going to help keep down any visibility with this, because it is, again, something that can fit in the palm of your hand, making this a very easily placed or stealthily placed camera. When we bring the camera to the focus up front, over here we actually have 2 IR lights, which will help us see at night. We've got right there, this is our camera lens with a 2 megapixel CMOS sensor at 1920 by 1080. That is going to give you HD footage. This is not a 2K camera, but for most, and for the size of this camera, 1080 is a great choice. You also have 15 frames a second with recording. Coming down, you will notice that there is a blinking status light. If I wave my hand in front of this again, that is your status light. That will show blue when it is detecting motion, green when you're charging it, whether that's steady green or flashing green, or if you happen to have it plugged in. Right down here, this is your microphone, because this camera, albeit size, does support 2-way audio. In the middle here, this is actually your PIR sensor. PIR sensor means that this requires both heat and motion in order to be triggered. So what it will do is it'll go into a hibernated state until those 2 criteria are met, and then it will trigger itself to do a clipped recording. And to the right of that, that is not actually an LED status light, that is an ambient light sensor, meaning that it will automatically be able to switch itself into night mode when the amount of ambient light drops where it thinks it needs that in order to see at night. If we come to the bottom, there isn't much to look at. There is a QR code which will be required for setup. We'll talk about that a little later. On the top here, you can see right there at the back, that is going to be your speaker. And I will say, for the size of this, I was actually very surprised at the audio quality that I got from that, but that's a little later. Coming to the back, well, what do we have here? We have a micro SD card slot. This can support up to a 256 gigabyte micro SD card for local storage. I appreciate the fact that EZVIZ, while they do offer a cloud subscription service, they do let you do a lot for free with this camera. To the right of that, there is your micro USB charging port. To me, I wish that was a USB-C, as we are kind of moving towards that, but they do give you a cable, which we'll talk about momentarily. On the back here, coming down, we have our reset button and then our power on and off. So if you want to transport this and move it to a different location, you can simply power it off and it won't be taking pictures of you while you're doing that. One of the things anybody should ask themselves, even though it's very small and easily placed, is it difficult to set up? Let's take a look at the setup process. This will be setup of the EZVIZ BC2. You're going to start by downloading the EZVIZ app and creating your account if you don't already have one. And then we're going to come up here to the upper right-hand corner and select the plus sign, and then add a new device. Here we're going to look through. They've got a laundry list of things that you can add. We're going to add a camera, and they would like permission to access my camera. I'm going to say, well, using the app, because it's going to have us scan a QR code that's on the bottom of the camera here. So we're just going to do that quickly off camera right there and give that a moment. So there you go. It says EZVIZ BC2. Device is powered on. It is not. So we're just going to bring this around to the back and power on our device.
Tap successful.
So, boop, and
please use EZVIZ app for device Wi-Fi configuration.
So right there, it's starting to walk us through things. So here we go. We're going to select next. Indicator is flashing blue. So I did get ahead of myself a little bit, but we're going to go next. Here, let me select a Wi-Fi network. We're going to select my IoT network and then next. And it wants to now temporarily connect to a Wi-Fi network that the camera has created. It has connected successfully. So it's going to send that information over to the EZVIZ camera, and we'll give that a little bit.
Connecting to Wi-Fi. Please wait.
Got a red light there.
Wi-Fi connected.
So we're just going to need.
Platform registration successful.
So it has successfully registered. I'm giving it a unique name, which is pretty much just the camera name, so I know what it is.
Configuration complete. Welcome to EZVIZ.
All that's through this little speaker on the top, so that's rather impressive. Although it is spinning a little bit, doesn't look like it wants to allow the name to pass over. So I might have to hit the next button down here, even though that's kind of spinning. Oh, there we go. And we're waiting for that to, all right, so there we go. Here we've got device QR code. We can save that. Audio off by default. We can turn that on later. Daylight savings, format. And here we've got a free trial of their cloud service. We're going to turn that off for now and select next. All right, it wants us to change the encryption password for the video for this. All right, we have modified the password. That doesn't normally come up, and it's reminding you to remove the protective screen if you haven't done so already. View device. Here we've got working modes. We have power plugged in, high performance power saver, super power saver, and then configure. So what we're going to do high performance and see how that does. Here we've got its sensitivity rating. So we're just going to debugging, but it kind of let you know the triggering. So it wants you to walk back and forth where you have this mounted. I'm going to select next, and it wants me to do a free trial. We're going to say, not going to do the free trial for now. And we're just going to say no thanks. Do not be fooled if you happen to have locations set up at the top of your screen. Make sure that you're on all or the specific room that you have the camera in. Right here, we could see it's armed, it's performing an update, it has one trigger that happened, but that was setup of the EZVIZ BC2, albeit got a little confused at the end wondering why I couldn't see it. There you saw, not terrible at all with setup, and I do like some of those extra enhanced security features that I don't really see on other smart home cameras. I appreciate the fact that EZVIZ is taking security in mind, making it more difficult for people to maybe get into your video feed. But the camera itself is not the only thing that you get in the box, so let's take a look at some of the other things that we get, starting with the magnetic mount. Yes, this is a magnetic mount that can be placed pretty much anywhere on the bottom of the EZVIZ camera to help keep it in place. It is a ball joint, so we can kind of move that, and if we stick it like that, we can kind of have it give us an angle how we like. The underside is also magnetic if you wanted to attach it to something, but there also is this rubberized footy around if you wanted to maybe not use it as a magnet and place it somewhere and not have to worry about it scratching the surface. We also get a plethora of other mounting options. Here we have a metal plate, which if we wanted to, would attach to the bottom of the mount itself, and with that we actually get some screws and mounting anchors. We also have two sets of double-sided tape, so if we found a nice location that we wanted to place it in, we could just mount it that way if we didn't want to drill into it. We also have, as I mentioned before, the USB to micro USB charging cable. The one complaint that I have with this, and I've seen a lot of other people have this complaint as well, this is really short for what you're using it for. So you either have to have this very close to the charging receptacle that you're going to be using, or use a different cable, something longer. One of the reasons I mentioned the length of the cable is because you can plug this in and bypass using the battery and just have it work off of electricity. But with the short cable that they give you, you're gonna have to go and find your own. Speaking of that internal battery, it has a 2000 milliamp battery. Yes, for the size of this, they squeezed a 2000 milliamp battery in here, and EZVIZ says you will get up to 50 days of use. Again, that is dependent on where you place this and the amount of triggers that you get in a day, as well as some of the power settings that you have access to in the application. But we'll talk about that in a moment. When charging that 2000 milliamp battery, it takes about 2.5 hours, so it won't be out of service for too long if you decide to take this down and charge it. Also in here is a Wi-Fi antenna, which operates on the 2.4 gigahertz spectrum, which means longer range, but don't have those speeds that you get with 5 gigahertz. However, being that this is a 1920 by 1080, you don't need those faster speeds, and the fact that you can directly connect to the camera without having to go through Wi-Fi is another security feature and a way to cut down on your network congestion, which I very much appreciate. But all of those functionalities and settings are done through the application. So let's take a look at all the features that we get in the EZVIZ app. This is the application for the EZVIZ BC2. Here we can see up at the top, this is the BC2. I have it labeled as such. If this is your first time looking at the EZVIZ application, if you have more than one camera, they'll all be listed thusly. However, at the top, you can select single cameras to actually show on the EZVIZ app on your main screen. Just make sure that you are either showing all or the camera you want and not wonder where your other camera went. I did that to myself, but found out afterward that I should be on all. Upper right-hand corner, there's a plus plus sign. That's how you add other cameras. To the left of that, you have these two elongated rectangles on top of each other. Selecting that will allow you to change your layout style. I have expanded, which shows the visual of the actual cameras. You have condensed, list, and sort by spaces or device type, and then you could rearrange. If I wanted to rearrange my cameras, that's how I would do that. Coming back to the BC2 here, in the upper right-hand corner there, you can see a number that indicates the amount of triggers or things that it has recorded. You could see in the lower left-hand corner, it says it's armed, and then the name of the camera right there. We also have 3 vertical dots in the corner. This is going to let you toggle between armed and disarm mode just for this single camera, as well as access our device settings and our detailed page right from the overall layout. But we are going to click on the number in the upper right-hand corner just so you see what that's like. Brings us into our triggers area. There is another space for this. We'll look at that a little later. I'm going to select my device by simply clicking on it. And here we can see it's loading up and is currently sitting right over here, just off camera. Here we can see a timeline of the recorded events. These recorded events are being recorded to an SD card. Selecting our camera by touching it thusly will launch the camera and bring us into our clips area. You can see at the top there, it does want me to do the free trial. You can do the free trial of cloud storage, however, it is not necessary. Right here, we have our timeline. This is today. It's showing these are the events that happened today. And I can pinch to zoom, expand these individual clips, because right here, there's a clip, 2 clips, single clip. So if I come down to that one, that is me walking past it, and notice it's playing the clip, and that's me taking down the camera where I had it. I can select live view right from there, and it will collapse the timeline. Notice if I touch the camera option up here, we get a few extra things. We get the device name, we get battery percentage, we have a share icon, as well as a settings. So if I select settings, that will bring me into the settings for the device. I have the click to expand, and we can see all of those options are still there. We're going to put it back. This is picture-in-picture mode. This is something unique that EZVIZ cameras do. There are a couple other manufacturers that do this as well, but this will allow you to have the camera feed, and not just within the EZVIZ app. If I open up my browser on my phone, you can see I still have access to the EZVIZ app with the browser in the background. So that is a free floating mode, and to get back, you could select that icon in the upper right, and that pulls you back into here. That is a really useful feature, especially if you're using this for surveillance. We have our play pause. Because this is a battery operated camera, you may at some point want to pause the live feed. You also have your volume control right there. Toggling that will allow you to mute any audio coming from the device to you. We also have our microphone, and doing that will allow you to speak, and you can see after tapping it, I do not have to do any extra holding to toggle it. There also is volume controls right there. If we come down, we looked at our timeline before. We have these here. One is for our cloud storage, one is for SD card. If I bring it over to the cloud, it's going to want me to try their free trial. There are some advantages to using the cloud storage. However, you don't have to, because they have the micro SD card, which is great. Under that, we have our filter. If I select filter, I can set a specific date range and time, and then the camera, after hitting OK, will bring me to that event date range so I can check things out. We talked about our clips. We've got view event clips right here. So if I wanted to see them in a non-timeline view, I can do that here. Selecting the button in the lower right-hand corner here will allow us to jump to a camera if we happen to have multiple cameras. Right now I only have the one on, so that's the only one that's showing up. From my live feed here, if I want to take a snapshot, I can come down there, press the snapshot button. If I want to record what's going on, I can select record right there. You can see there's a timer up at the top letting me know, hey, I'm recording stuff from the live feed, and I just have to tap that to stop. Now, the importance of the record feature is that, well, this is a battery-powered camera, so it does hibernate itself when not in use. So unless you see motion, it might not record what's going on screen. Here we have another area to access our speaking feature, and then here we have our definition, full HD, high def, or standard. And we can cancel. I have it on high def because I wanted to have access to as much pixels as I could for the camera, and those are all of our camera controls for the BC2. But if we come up here, if I tap on share, I can share this camera with somebody. They just need to have their own EZVIZ app, and I would plug in their email address. But to the right of that, this is the important part. These are our settings. Up at the top, we have our name. I can change the name of this particular device. We have work mode. Right now, I have it on high performance, but you have power plugged in, power save, super power saving, and configure working mode. If you come into configure, you can set up a schedule where it's in this specific mode at this specific time and then powers it down to save battery, or you can have it plugged in all the time. I like the fact that they allow you to designate how you'd like to use the device because, well, it's my device. I want to use it how I want to use it. And I appreciate the fact that they allow me to do that. Now we come down to intelligent detection. What this does is allow us to change some of the detection settings for the camera. This is a heat-based motion sensing camera. Because it is a battery camera, it requires a heat signature from the target in order to trigger. And you get all that information under the PIR infrared detection. Well, here I have human shape detection. By having that on, it will look for human targets. I can change the sensitivity by adjusting it. You can start debugging, which will allow you to walk in front of the camera to determine, is it actually picking you up? You also have the ability for detection zones. So let's say I want a zone right there. Well, there we go. I have created my detection zone and it will only detect a person in that area. I hit save if I want to keep it, or I can erase everything, so clear, or I could have specified a specific area to erase. And I'm sure I'm going to give up the changes and we are going to go back. Coming down, we have our notifications. Selecting notifications. Do I want audible notifications? Well, in my case, no, I wanted it muted, but you can change the notification audible sound to intense, soft, custom sound, or configurable, and then you can adjust how loud it is right there. This is separate from your actual phone notifications, which is pretty cool. The fact that you can have this differentiate itself from your actual device's notifications. Right under that, you can say, what do you want to get? In my case, I am receiving device messages. The interval, I have it set for 1. You can slide that all the way up to 30 minutes. So that's the cooldown between notifications. I also am accepting EZVIZ app notifications. If this is toggled off, still get events in your library, but you will not receive notifications about triggered events. And then notification schedule, well, I want them all the time, but you could hypothetically set up a customized schedule, allowing you to, if I select schedule, pick my days, pick my times, only send me things during those days and times. So if you don't want to receive notifications while you're in bed, that's how you could do that. And then we have offline notifications. I have that turned off because, well, if I'm not online, I don't want the phone trying to push me a notification. Audio setting, coming down here, we have audio. When this is disabled, both your live view and recordings will not have audio. So you gotta make sure you turn that on. Device voice prompt, you want to be prompted to click the little button to start talking. So make sure you come in there, turn your audio on. I haven't been capturing audio at the time of recording this app portion, so I am okay. Image settings is next. Well, here we go. Original, soft, or vivid, and it will give you a live look at your camera, allowing you to determine soft, original, vivid. So right in real time, you can determine how you'd actually like that to look. Light setting, well, that's going to be the camera's status light. You can turn that on or off. And then here we have our battery. It's letting us know the remaining battery percentage as well as how to charge it. Good if you didn't know how to do that. Coming down to our general settings, we have our cloud play. Right now, I have the option for a free week trial, and it's going to let you know what you get for that price. All day detection 24/7, more reliable protection, share important moments, 1 gig of EZVIZ drive, 32 times playback speed. That is an important one. I really miss having that. EZVIZ is one of the few manufacturers that will actually let you, if you're using their cloud service, go back and when you're rewatching your clip, fast forward through it at up to 32 speed because maybe it's a long clip and you don't want to have to slowly go through a half-hour clip. Speed it up to 32, you're good. Record list, if I come in here, well, here I have, again, cloud storage option and then my memory card. It's letting me know the memory card is normal. And if I select my memory card option, right there, it's letting me know the size of my memory card, and I really only have the option to reformat it. If you've got clips already saved on your SD card, you don't want to reformat it. Coming down, security settings, we have video encryption, which will encrypt your video, meaning any clips that are saved, you can't watch them outside of the actual EZVIZ camera in combination with the app. That is both a plus and a minus, so do as you see fit. If you do encrypt your videos, there is a password. You can change that if you're in there. You can also set it up so that you have access via your biometrics. Network setting, you can see right there. That's how you can change your network if you wanted to. Device information, it's going to show you time, date information, as well as QR code if you need to attach this to another app quickly, and firmware update right in there. And then we have share device. This is just another place that we can share the device. And all the way at the bottom, we can delete the device. And we're going to come back. Those were all of the settings for the EZVIZ B2. If this is your first time seeing the EZVIZ app, I will quickly come down here and talk about some of the other things. We're on our devices page, which is what we're looking at, listing all of our devices. To the right of that is our library. This is an aggregate area where if you have multiple cameras, it will show you the saved or triggers in one location. And here we have automation. If you wanted to set up specific automations based on events happening. So EZVIZ camera detects a person walking in. EZVIZ light switch turns on your lights, allowing you to see what's going on. Coming back to my devices, you'll notice that there is an arm disarm button for every device that you have. So unlike the camera itself, which has a singular arm and disarm, you can arm and disarm all your devices if you wanted to. If you click on the little image of a person's head in the left-hand corner, this is going to bring you to some extra areas: My Albums, Settings, Family Guest, Cloud Play, EZVIZ Drive, Smart Integration, New Features, Help Center, Feedback, and Live Chat. That is going to be for all of your devices, not just a singular device. So think of that as more of app management as opposed to selecting one of your devices and clicking on that sprocket icon. But that has been everything that we can do for the EZVIZ BC2 using the EZVIZ application. Having good functionality in the app and a very diminutive size is all well and good. But if the video that comes from the camera isn't any good, then it defeats the purpose of the size. Let's take a look at some video samples that I got from the EZVIZ BC2. As you saw, for the most part, the video quality from this, again, 1080 is still considered HD and is very good. The only place that I found it lacking a little bit was the video footage from night. The IR lights didn't go quite as far as I would like them to. However, because of the way that this camera is situated, it's not really meant for those longer range things. It's meant really to get about 10 to 15 feet in front of the camera. Just have that data point. Video aside, how does it sound? That speaker looks pretty small. Can the audio quality from this actually be any good? Let's take a listen now.
Audio test. EZVIZ BC2 maximum volume on speaker. Sally sells seashells by the seashore. Peter Piper picked a pack of pickled peppers. Test 1, test 2, test 3, and test.
Audio test. EZVIZ BC2. Coming from the camera to the application. Sally sells seashells by the seashore. Peter Piper picked a pack of pickled peppers. Test 1, test 2, test 3, and test. I will be the first to admit I was very surprised at the actual audio quality that I got from this. I really didn't expect it to be as good as it was, especially considering the size of that speaker. But apparently, great things come in small packages. I know there's been a lot of the EZVIZ BC2 here that I've liked, but with anything, there's always going to be some cons. So with the EZVIZ BC2 here, what I found lacking was the ability to flip the camera orientation in the application, meaning if I situate the camera upside down like this, why can't I adjust the image in the application to correct it? Part of that, I think, is because of the PIR sensor and where it's located. EZVIZ did not want to give you that option because you might not get triggers because of where that sensor is. And I appreciate that, but in my particular instance, I was able to have the PIR sensor trigger, and I would like that option. Again, there's a lot of customization that you can do in the app. Just give me that option and I would be happy. And the beauty of the fact that it's something from the application means that it could, in the future, be updated. I'm looking at you, EZVIZ. Speaking of the application, I did find that on occasion that connection speed when I was opening up the app and trying to open up the live feed from the camera on the application could take a little bit of time compared to other devices that I've tried. But keep in mind, this is a battery-powered camera that does hibernate itself when it is not being used in order to help preserve battery. So I can look past that because it is a feature to help preserve battery life. One other thing that I don't quite understand with EZVIZ, as I've seen other companies do this as well, if you are not using their cloud service and you have the clip saved to the SD card on the camera itself, you have to actually open the clip and then select record in order to download that clip to your phone. I really wish that they would allow you to simply click a download button without having to pay for the cloud subscription. There's a lot to like about the EZVIZ BC2. The size and versatility of placement allows you to get creative where you're going to put this camera to keep track of the things that you find important in your life. The fact that it is a hubless security camera, meaning it doesn't have to connect to a hub that then connects to your Wi-Fi. Nope, the camera itself connects directly to your Wi-Fi network. All pluses. The versatility and options that you have in the application to make this perform exactly as you would like. The fact that the video and audio quality from this are remarkable for the size. If you're looking for a camera of a specific functionality, makes the EZVIZ BC2 a camera worth checking out. If you didn't get the impression, I recommend the EZVIZ BC2 for those that are looking for a battery-powered HD security camera to keep track of your home while you're away. If you made it to this point in the video, you appreciate the amount of effort and time that goes into making in-depth videos like this. So make sure to hit that like button to help other people find this video as well. If you like what I'm doing here and want to be notified of my next review, hit that subscribe button. With that being said, I have been Wanderer001. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to leave them in the area below. And as always, thanks for watching.
If you found this video helpful, consider giving it a like, as that will help other people find the video as well. If you like what I'm doing here, you can always help fuel the next review by buying me a coffee, link in the description below. Last but not least, if you want to be notified when I upload a new video, you know what to do.